Again.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
What's going on? So I'm a little
And
bit on an angle today. I'm not at the studio as usual, so we took Book Club Mobile. Actually, it's a pretty good name. Book Club Mobile. It's pretty sweet.
true, true.
But
There's an app there. I see it.
right? But today we are gonna cover more awesome chapters. Chapter 13 and chapter 14, which is content is king, but feedback is queen. So Molly, we've had some pretty funny experiences when it comes to the queen portion of your content.
Oh
So
my goodness.
let's let's dive into that a little bit and share with the audience what kind of things they can expect.
All right, so backstory, guys. We're reading the YouTube formula, Darrell Eves. We're learning about how the algorithm works. We're being inspired to take action, play around, try some different things, and check out the data on the back end. And we know the value of comments and stuff. So keep all of that in mind. I'm scrolling through my comments on the shorts that we're doing. We're just putting out shorts and lives this month. Again, we did that last month as well. We're just checking it out, and it's incredible. The people we're connecting with, the conversations we're having, fantastic. I love it. And every once in a while, someone really takes the time out of their day to share their thoughts.
Molly.
And they really they sometimes they dig deep and they really find succinct ways of saying what they really feel. And so I had a video where I'm literally sitting in front of a piece of cardboard. That's the backdrop. Looks great. I have a shirt that I've had for probably 20 years
Mm.
since it was cool the last time. And my hair's a mess, so I decided to just put it in pigtails and put my regular glasses on. All right. I thought I looked pretty good, actually. And the commenter says something to the effect of, "Oh my goodness, this is horrific. She is so old, but she's trying to dress young."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wow, thank you for sharing your brilliance, but also thank you for taking the time out of your day to feed the algorithm. And not
Mhm.
only did this brilliant person comment, but two actually wonderful people commented below saying, "I don't get what you mean, buddy. I don't get it." But the thing is, I think a more insecure Molly would have immediately wanted to delete that comment. I would have wanted to wipe it off the earth. I maybe would have hidden under a blanket for a little bit, wondering about how many people saw that comment. But I'm definitely embracing it. It's hilarious. So of course I
Oh,
comment back. Like, I appreciate when people help me feed the algorithm.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So that was my experience this week. Oh, and I made a point of turning it into a community post because we got community posts over on the Visibility Hacking channel.
Yes.
It's like a whole new world of content to think about. So come on over, give us some suggestions of what you'd like us to use those posts for, and
It's fun,
let's build a
right?
community. It's neat. It's very
Yeah.
neat. We're slowly getting used to it. I'm going to try a poll maybe today and see how that works. But yeah.
Yeah, I think my thing is like I'm not 100% certain as to whether um non-subscribers and subscribers both see the community post.
So
So,
yes, both will be able to see the posts. If you are frequently viewing a person, like a certain channel's content, there but not subscribed, their community post will start to show up for you. But what
oh,
I've noticed is unless you are regularly engaged on a channel in which you are subscribed to, you will not get those notifications for maybe 24 or 48 hours after they're posted.
mm,
So I've noticed a lot of creators using their community posts to advertise their latest videos, or and that seems to work because it helps when that community post hits. maybe 24 or 48 hours after it's posted. That's going to maybe help feed another bump in viewers for that video that it's promoting. But I've also seen a lot of content creators using it to promote their live streams, and they have their timing completely off. So they're trying to get people to show up live that day, and it doesn't seem to show up. These posts don't seem to show up in the right timing to promote a same day live stream event as effectively as it would another piece of more evergreen type content.
Right, right. Well, I had a similar experience. It wasn't this week. It was a few weeks back, and it was sharing tips on just your videos, like video on your video sales letters, on your marketing
Yeah.
and all that, right? And the comment came in and was like, "Here's a tip: get off YouTube."
I like that. I like that. So my answer would have been something sarcastic to the point of, yeah, video addiction is a growing problem in our community, and I thank you for bringing awareness to that. I think that's how I would have hit back. How did you
Yeah.
handle it?
You know what? I showed it to Jim actually.
Yeah.
Uh, and and he was just like, and exactly what you kind of just said. He was like, bro, just hit him with kindness, man. Just hit
Yeah.
him with love. And then that's pretty much like what I did. But like, it didn't even bother me. Like, I read the
Yeah.
message and I almost spit my coffee out from laughter because I could picture how it was said. And I just thought it was the funniest thing
Dude,
ever. But to
good on you.
counteract that comment, I also got a better comment from one of my favorite YouTubers, Dylan John. He's a massive Final Cut Pro guy, and he is also, and I don't have any affiliate links, so I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, but I believe he's also the part owner of motionvfx.com, and motionvfx.com is all templates and plugins for Final Cut, Premiere Pro, and DaVinci Resolve. They are at a premium price, so don't think that you're just going to go in there and just, start filling up your cart, because you're going to have a rude awakening. But, for the odd plugin that you need here and there to just get your job done, they do the most incredible work. And that's all I use. I only use Motion VFX. And the last comment that I put on his page, he's literally been calling me Jason Momoa. So, like, in every single comment, he's like, "Yeah, you should go buy that, Jason Momoa." And I was like, and I'm
Okay.
like,
Can we write a series of skits with Jason Momoa? Like, I feel okay. Backstory for everyone listening. Lefty shoots incredible content. We all know this. But I need a kick in the pants to book my next session with Lefty. I'm running through a million different ideas, so I need to solidify the best ideas for our next shooting, our next day. But I see skits. I want to do skits, and I want to do skits with you, but I think it would be funny if I do skits with you and Jason Momoa.
deep fake.
Oh,
We could just deep fake the whole process.
does that mean I don't even have to get out of bed?
I mean, probably not. I mean, please show up. Like, but but how would we do? Yeah, I mean, I could figure out how we could do that.
That would be really cool.
But I could definitely deep fake it. That's absolutely. I mean, that'd be funny. But yes, speaking of skits, guys, and seeing that we're talking about content, let's go one step further than skit, because skit is one portion of collaboration,
Mhm.
right? And you might have something that somebody else might need, and vice versa. So doing collaborations are a really, really good thing, because it allows you and another creator to both open up your communities to each other,
Mhm.
But you also want to be careful with who you are collaborating with, because if you collaborate with a channel that is potentially not doing or performing as well as yours, it could also then kill your reach. And if you are having good reach, you could potentially see a drop in numbers because of that. I can't speak for YouTube primarily, but I know that's how Instagram operates. That
Mm.
there are a lot of creators right now who are obviously getting slammed in the DMs. Hey, bro, you want to collaborate with me, bro?
Yeah.
Hey, I have this sick idea, bro. And people are just then wondering after the collaboration why they're not getting reach, why they're not getting
Hmm.
as many comments or as many
Hmm.
followers as they used to. And that is because they're making poor collaborative decisions with channels or pages that are not working in their favor, right? People
Mm.
that maybe post once a month versus the person that posts every day. These are things that can hurt you in the long run. Now, it's safe to say Molly and I are in the same on the same team. We're in the same group. We have the same type of people more or less. So in this regards, even though Molly and I on the YouTube side of things, we're still considered the small creator, we are on a level playing field that we won't hurt one another. We will
Mhm.
only improve one another's channels. And that's something that you guys want to think about when you are doing the collaboration portion.
Mhm. Trying to log in here. So this week we're looking at two different chapters, right? Content is king, feedback is queen. When it comes to content, he gives us this great breakdown. But first, do you have a section that you want to read to us? Because Lefty has the book this week. Believe it or not, he's mobile in the car. I'm sitting here with no book. But do you
I
got a section to read for us?
I think the first page,
Yeah, bring it.
okay? May 26, 1980. That date will always be seared in my mind because something changed me that day, and I haven't been the same since. This chapter is about moments that change people. It's
Mhm.
what I am the most passionate about in my work, figuring out how our message or content can make the biggest impact on others. Some of the greatest experts in rhetoric have changed the world, both good and bad, from Aristotle to Hitler to Gandhi with their messaging. Every interaction we have in every facet of our lives comes down to getting a message across. Messaging is a huge part of our YouTube strategy. It helps us get people to do what we want them to do and meet our success goals. I think yes, it doesn't matter good or bad. And I think I really love what Darrell Eves is saying here, because he literally went from Aristotle to Hitler. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
Both different sides of the spectrum. One was like all about humanity, love the world. The other one was like, let's become a tyrant and just
Yeah.
destroy everything. But both had a message. Whether the message was for good or evil, the point is that they got people to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that message alone is just like, I mean, don't do any bad whatsoever. That is not what I'm getting at. Please spread love all the time, but it's just more so that it's like, if you are, even the evil person has a message, right?
Mhm.
Even the evil person will have a follower or followers or community members, right? So the whole thing is like, if you just want something in your content to be powerful and to be absorbed, then the message has to like hit that person, whether it is for good or evil. And I just found that first paragraph like so powerful.
Absolutely. That's why in the visibility hacking world, we're always talking about bringing more attention to your message, your mission, and your movement. Your message is exactly what Lefty's talking about. Your Your mission is like, what are you here to accomplish? And then your movement is the people who come behind you. So when we look at the YouTube formula, these are the tools and strategies that are proven from some of the biggest content creators, some of the fastest growing content creators across all different areas and sections and topics and niches and all that kind of stuff. And I'm so inspired, because in this chapter he talks about the story arc and helping people use that story to share your message with the world. So I wish I had my book in front of me. But we have examples. So we have examples of the hook. Tell me about what the hook is, Lefty.
The hook is just that first 3 to max 5 seconds. And oh boy, if you're going to use 5 seconds, it better be the sweetest hook I've ever heard in my life. The hook is exactly what it sounds like. You want to hook people in, you want to reel people in. Think of fishing. Fishing uses hooks. Why? Because it's the bait that you attach to the hook to get the fish to bite. So this is how you have to think about it. The hook is the most important thing of your video. It's not, well, no, I lied. It's not the most important thing, but it's definitely in the top 3, because there's other things that make a very, very good video. But you want to ask a question, or you want to, give something of, you want to make a statement. You want to make like a bold statement, right? I don't know, like, I'm going to give you $1 million in 30 days, or I'm jumping off the CN Tower. Whoa, I want to hear that video. You know what I mean? Like, those are those bold statements. It's like, sell, you like those money back guarantees or whatever. Like, normally you hear those at like the end of a video, but like if you can make a bold statement like that, or a bold claim at the beginning of your video, someone's gonna pause and they're gonna go, whoa, hold on, what the hell did that guy or girl just say, right? So bold statements, asking questions, and sometimes don't be afraid to be controversial. Don't be afraid to like say something that might even upset someone but doesn't go against community guidelines. Like, like, not everyone is going to share your belief, not everyone is going to share your opinion, right? So if, like, I mean, there was a point in time where, Molly was all about YouTube, and I'm like, Instagram, like, and it's just, not that I didn't like love YouTube, but
you were so into Instagram. You were like obsessed. He literally told me, even though we had this discussion, that reels and shorts are the same thing. You can repost the same content. Lefty was like, nah, I'm just going to post them on Instagram. Why aren't you posting on Instagram? And then he saw the video he made for me posted on YouTube, and it worked. And now he's a convert. Welcome to the dark side.
Yes. Well, like, the backstory behind that is, like, I did have a YouTube channel back in the day, probably 6 years ago. Wanted to make some branding changes, hit the change button. YouTube deleted everything. I crapped the bed there, and then I put in all this work, and I was like, you know what? I'm not interested in putting in all that work again. So I left to a more I wouldn't say easier platform, but one that was a little bit more faster to upload to. And then just, meeting you guys and joining the team, I just said, you know what? YouTube needs Lefty, and I just came back. And I'm happy that I did. But at the end of the day, like, just to go back to the whole like YouTube Instagram controversy, if I was, let's say, on Instagram or on YouTube talking about how Instagram is the best platform, that could trigger a response in Molly to be like, yo, I don't know what the F you're talking about, bro. And that's going to feed the algorithm, and that's going to be like, oh, people actually care to respond to this guy's short or this guy's video. So triggering a response, whether in a good way or a bad way, as long as you're just not being an asshole,
Mhm.
like that is kind of what you want to what you want to do, and that's what makes a very, very great, fantastic hook. And I know it's so stupid, but if you guys really want to learn how to create the greatest hooks ever,
Mhm.
everyone's been at a grocery store, right? Go
Mhm.
buy those junk tabloid magazines.
You're
Like,
right.
you
You're
never
right.
do you not ever sit in the checkout line and you read over and it's like Prince Harry has a seventh toe, read all about it, and you're just like, what he does? And there's a part of you that wants to like inch to grab the magazine, but you're just like, no, what would the person behind me think that I'm grabbing these like shitty magazines? But realistically, these people, these men and women, are probably paid hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mhm.
to write these hooks. Not even the article itself. They're paid
Mhm.
big bucks just for the hook. And people like readers, I don't know what the names are now, but like
Like the
these
Inquirer and things
yeah,
like
like
that. Yeah.
these are being sold millions and millions and millions of copies daily, weekly. Like, so go to your local grocery store, go to your local pharmacy, go to anywhere that sells these like BS tabloid magazines, and just study the
Yep.
hooks, study the headlines, and I guarantee you, you will be able to come up with something so killer that your competition will just be like, oh crap, I'm done. I
Yep.
can't compete with
Yep.
Molly. I can't compete with Lefty. Like, they're just too good. I should have read tabloid magazines 6 months ago. I would have been ahead of the game.
I grew up in a household. My mom worked at one of the biggest newspapers in the country, and so I grew up in like the newsroom and paying attention to headlines specifically, and because I
Yeah.
got to know the editors who were in charge of coming up with the headlines and the stories behind them, because they have to be short, they have to be succinct, and they have to be eye catching. And they have to tell what's actually in the content. And there are some hilarious historical headlines. I'll put a little post together and I'll pop it in the group later on. But some hilarious headlines, and it's when the journalists were able to turn on that creative side of their brain and really start to use puns and look for those attention grabbing parts of the story that would intrigue people. We see it in news headlines when you watch the evening news as well. They're sensationalizing what's happening. We're not talking politics here. I'm talking simply for the fact that there's a story, there's a little nugget, and they're
Mhm.
going to find the shiniest part of that nugget to share with you. And then that's how they draw you in. I love I love that.
It's so good. It's so good. But like I mentioned this date, May 26, 1980. So
Yep.
people are probably wondering why is that date relevant? Okay. So on May 26, 1980. And for those of you that know, like, you know what I'm about to get into, okay? Because this is the best thing I've ever read in my life. I was 6 years old. My two uncles had gone to see a new movie that had opened a few days earlier, and they loved it so much that they needed a reason to spend money to see it again. What movie could that be?
Star Wars.
So they asked if they could take their kid nephew, Darrell. What a great idea. We got to the theater and found our seats, and the title sequence began its trademark Star Wars crawl up screen. It was The Empire Strikes Back, the second film in the original Star Wars trilogy. Now, I don't say this lightly, but The Empire Strikes Back is the best movie of all time that ever existed in the whole of humanity. And it literally says that in the book.
Yep.
This was content at its finest. I knew it even at the age of 6. The cinematography and the story were like magic to me. But there was that one epic moment in the movie, you all know it now, when Darth Vader revealed that he was Luke Skywalker's father. Oh, and Luke's hand got cut
Spoiler
off.
alert.
Uh, yeah. At the time of filming, only a few people even knew that scene would be in the script. Mark Hamill, James Earl, film creator George Lucas, and the director Irvin Kershner. Hamill says he didn't even know about the plot twist until right before filming the scene, and Kershner threatened him with a, well, now you know, well, no, sorry, we'll know it's you if the twist got leaked.
Yep.
And I absolutely love this because even larger Hollywood productions are doing this now. I don't remember what show it was now, but people are now just like, the writers are in the room and they're just like, here you go, this is your next scene. like
Yep.
like actors are going in not even knowing what the heck they're filming anymore sometimes.
Yep.
And that's just due to the fact that the director and the story is such a powerful story that if God forbid anything gets out, it's going to be bad news bears all over the internet. So it's just incredible how it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I sure as heck took drama in high school. I sure as hell was in improv class. And it's just really great to see that you have these large Hollywood actors going literally like doing improv again, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? It's really awesome. It's really interesting. And I think that's and I guess that's how you can tie it into um content planning.
Hmm.
Okay? Because the world around us changes all the time.
Yep.
You don't want to like, I know there's people that want to be ahead of the game, and you look at their schedule planner and it's like 60 days out, it's like 90 days out, and it's like,
You
what
making fun of
happened?
me?
No, 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 no.
I have 90-day plans, everyone. I
No,
plan
I
my
know
content
you have
90
90
days in
day plans.
advance.
I know, but there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is your 90-day plan is different than a 90-day plan that's already ready to be out there for posting,
Mm.
right? Because you make 90-day plans, but you have a shift and pivot point if you need to shift and pivot.
Yeah.
You don't have the videos already ready recorded. Sometimes
That's
you do.
fun.
Sometimes you do. But
Yeah.
the point that I'm trying to get at is, like, look at me, for example. I try to bring entrepreneurship in relevance to pop culture.
Yeah.
And I know that you mentioned that's one thing that you love that I do. So I cannot physically create videos longer than 2 weeks out, because if I'm going to be doing videos that are related to pop culture with
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, anything and everything can happen in a 10-day span. So
You
I have
gotta
to
be
be
on
able to,
top of it.
I have to be on top of that news. I have to be on top of what's happening in that week. Otherwise, if I was to put out that Netflix video in June, I mean, The Circle was done like
Yeah.
8 months ago. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to care to see that video anymore, right?
Yeah.
So there are things that you can do that you can plan out ahead of time. But if you're somebody that is, trying to mix in pop culture with what it is that you do, or even just news headlines
Mhm.
in general, you got to be very, very strategic to how you
Yeah.
actually create that content. And I'll be completely honest with you guys, honest to God, tear jerk, I don't have a video plan this week.
What? You're taking a March break?
I filmed it yesterday. You,
Oh,
you you want to laugh? And I'm sure this
yeah.
happens to many creators. I filmed the video yesterday and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to get to it tomorrow. Didn't even realize that I'm meeting up with like uh, one of the most largest famous martial artists for fight sequences in Hollywood today at his studio, and
Yeah, you're a bit busy.
I'm gonna be in the city. And I was like, wait, if my YouTube video is there and I'm here, how does it go here there? And I'm like, oh my God, I got my week mixed up. I got my days mixed up. I honest to God thought that I still had like 2 days before I had to leave the city. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna not put a video out this week, but I'll probably just do a live show.
I have an
Okay,
idea. I have
Molly,
an
go.
idea. Okay, so you should just play into the trends, right? So you are officially monetized, which means you are officially, you can call yourself a YouTuber. So what you need to do to make sure that you have all of the appropriate check boxes to be a YouTuber, you have to put an apology video out.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so funny. That is so funny. Oh, and by the way, remember how we were speaking about revenue?
Yep.
Okay, so funny enough, um, inside my YouTube studio, it tells me that I have like $4.80.
Heck
But
yeah.
but yeah, whatever, man. I had like $15 in there. But
Oh,
when I actually
yeah.
went to my Google AdSense account, it shows that I have
Yeah.
$22 in revenue.
Interesting.
So I don't know if YouTube Studio is just because it's like synchronized with like real time to show you how much money is coming in and out.
Or is it giving just looking at a certain parameter of like time thing? Like maybe there's like a cash out, like within every 2 weeks it drops into your AdSense account or something. Clearly, I don't know. I'm not monetized yet.
Maybe that is that no, but that's an interesting way of looking at it. So that is potentially correct. I'm thinking it might just
Mhm.
be showing things in real time. Because yeah, I looked at my AdSense account. I'm like, I have like $22. I go, what? Where did this come from? Like I was like, huh?
I'm so excited. You went from being able to buy like fancy coffee to being able to buy lunch. Heck
I know.
yeah.
I still bought the fancy
Good
coffee.
job. Good job.
Well, it was either
Oh,
a good old dirty Tim Hortons or it was Starbucks.
we like it either way here in Canada.
Ladies and gentlemen, for you that are not Canadian, I'm going to just give you insider information. If you have ever been to Canada or if you are planning on coming to visit Canada, you have to get a Tim Hortons cup of coffee. Why?
Mhm.
Because it is the greatest, worst coffee you'll ever have in your life. Like literally, it is the greatest and the worst coffee all at the same time. I don't know how that even happens, but believe me, it happens. And this
Okay.
is it's a guilty pleasure. It's like, oh, we're going to Tim Hortons, eh?
Okay, I like spinning everything back to business. So I have a question for you then, Lefty.
All right.
McDonald's coffee, yay or nay? Better or worse than Timmy's?
Yay.
Better than Timmy's?
Can I tell you why?
Sure.
Because Starbucks and McDonald's use the same supplier.
And McDonald's actually purchased the old Tim Hortons coffee. You know, when they came out with the new blend a couple years ago, and everyone was like, this isn't so great. Well,
Did
the
they
old blend,
McDonald's changed?
yeah, like
No.
5, 6 years ago. Yeah,
But
McDonald's Canada bought Tim Hortons old coffee blend or whatever. And that's when they started doing the like $1 coffee and stuff like that to entice people over.
oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, so then maybe they switched their distributor. Okay. Because I knew that them and Starbucks had the same distributor.
Well, they can have the same distributor. They just might have different items that they choose from, like
True,
package
true, true.
A,
Fair enough, fair enough.
package B.
Actually, it was kind of funny, and I bit my tongue and I didn't say it. And like honestly, it was just one of those things where I wanted to have like a flirty moment, but I didn't. Um, the barista at Starbucks hands me my coffee, and she goes, "Here's your venti blonde," and I was like, "Well, you guys don't have brunettes back there?"
Ah, I love that. I love that. Next time we go to Starbucks, can you like put Jason Momoa as your, or just say your name's Jason?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see
Absolutely.
if they'll believe us. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, the sun is right there. It's so nice right now.
Oh, okay. We are not complaining about the sun on this show because it has been so gray and overcast for the last few months
Yeah.
that I am happy there is sun to blind us. But yes, I got my laptop shadow going on here. It's great. It's great.
Canada is the perfect example of the film 28 Days Later in the wintertime. Okay. So, yeah, for those of you that don't know that movie, go watch it. It's incredible.
Watch it.
But yeah, it's really bad. But let's get back into
Yeah, tell me
into
more about the story arc.
the story arc. Okay, in what regards? Because there's so much to cover.
Give us like the first introduction of what the story arc means, and then we'll talk about the different examples. Like we talked about the hook, we'll talk about re-engagement, the setup, the climax, the goosh, and the wrap up.
All right, so after the hook, you want to you got to give people a little bit of juice, like enough to entice them to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I actually I'm on day 6, I think, of my 100-day VSL masterclass, all for free on my Instagram reels and my Facebook reels and my shorts. So what I've actually done in the first 20 videos is, and we're gonna get to this, but I don't even have a call to action. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna rewind now, and we're talking about the hook. Now we're talking about the body. Okay, the body of your video is you want to just give
Mm-hmm.
just value bomb all the way. Reason being is because um if people don't know you and you're trying to build that like authority, you need to give a little more, right? You need to give a little more than what the authority figure gives, because the authority figure can literally say 2 sentences and all of a sudden people are in their checkout cart. You don't have that same luxury. So you want to, in order to entice people to get to know you, you want to be able to um bring out an emotion, make them feel like they can relate to you, make them feel like they can resonate with what you're saying. You also want to make sure that what you're going to say to them in the body is also memorable,
Mm.
right?
Yep.
What, like you want somebody to be on like a date with their girlfriend or their wife, or you want to, or you want them to be at like their kid's soccer game, and you want them to be like, fuck, that hook was so good, I need to watch that video again. Like, you have to be at the top of mind, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why you don't want to have a call to action first, or any sort of hard pitch call to action when you're starting out, and you're probably thinking to yourself, well, Lefty, from the way your peers talk about you, it's like, seems like you're pretty out there, like how come you don't have call to actions, right? I came into this whole strategy for 2023 where I'm also revamping and improving my client list, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in order to attract new people, I can't just go in there and be like, VSL, buy my shit, like, like that doesn't work. So I'm also going with the softer approach, in which I'm just physically saying, if you just want to know more, just DM me. If you like that video, like, just shoot me a DM. I'd love to elaborate on that, right? So that's kind of like the the story arc is kind of like, grab the attention, give them something that they can resonate with, or they can relate to, or something that will be memorable. um of course, showcase your personality. Okay, if you are a stiff, if your brand is a stiff, then be a stiff. Like, don't No, because why I say that is because do not try and be something that you're not, because then
Hmm.
9 times out of 10 it'll always fail, and
Hmm.
you will look even worse on camera. Okay, if you are someone that has more of like a shyer personality, then continue to be that person. Someone
Hmm.
like you are for someone, right?
Hmm.
Everybody has a special person, let's say. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if you're out there, be out there. Don't try and reserve yourself to be like, oh, people might not like that. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, I don't care if I was like in a room of CEOs and VPs and presidents. I'm still gonna be like wacky and out there, showing
Yeah.
up with neon orange sweaters. Like I don't care. Like that's just me. And people will realize that if I'm not acting the way that I'm acting, it's truly like not genuine and inauthentic, right?
Mm.
So, and then never forget, in the entire story, people buy people. Okay? People buy people, not products.
Yeah.
Okay? So if I'm gonna buy something from you, it's because I have to like you, right? So you gotta do this. You gotta do this in a way where it's just showcasing who you are. Like people love a good story. People love a good example. People also love like a good fail,
Mm.
like don't be afraid to showcase these things, and then go in with a soft CTA, call to action, and then as you progress in your video journey, slowly start to harden it,
Hmm.
just like you make first 20 videos, there's no call to action. Maybe you make the next 20 videos, there's a soft call to action. The next 20 videos after that, it starts to get a little bit harder until you have like a molded sculpture, and like you can't break it unless you have like a sledgehammer. So that's how you build. And a lot of people are doing this wrong. A lot of people are just going in for like going in for like hook value. You gotta DM me right now to book a call. Like, bro, I saw your video for the first time. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I don't even know if I want to follow you yet. And like your videos are just like DM this, DM that. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And you can also have other calls to action that don't involve connecting with you, the brand owner, especially when you're giving information in your content. So, those first few videos in your VSL series can have the call to action of implement what I just told you. And then you get people into the spirit of taking action on these calls to action. So when you start to get them, you're getting micro commitments so that when you actually have a bigger ask where you want them to change platforms, for example, or you want them to click on a link, something that isn't immediately satisfying to them, then, well, it's become easier because they know they can get great value out of you. So following your calls to action are going to actually benefit them in the long run. Yeah.
It's like you're the cool kid that got invited to the birthday party and we have a piñata. Okay? Like that's what it is. You wanna like it's like the bouncer at the nightclub. Your call to action is the bouncer at the nightclub with the velvet rope that's being like, all right, you got the call to action, cool. We're letting you in. We're letting
Yeah.
you in. Sir, back of the line. But we're letting you in. Like, you know what I mean? Like like that's how you gotta think about it. It's like you're getting people. You want to excite people enough to the point where it's it's almost like they're waiting in line at that cool nightclub that is
Hmm.
so difficult to get in. And like, okay, so I know this is a really uh a harsh way of marketing, but it really truly benefited the nightclub owners. And I'll give an example. Um, if you thought the fashion industry was terrible when it came to body shaming, you've never stepped foot in a nightclub between 1995 and 2005. Okay, um, like and there was a reason for that. It's the same reason as to why a Chanel bag is a Chanel bag because it really just wants to focus on one type of demographic. Not everybody is going to go out and buy a $5,000 purse, but at the same time, not everybody is also going to go out and pay $500 for
Mhm.
absolute vodka for
Mhm.
bottle service. You know what I mean? So it's when you can pick and choose who you want in your circle, in your community, who you want to really give your attention to. It's just like the nightclub owner who only allowed, a certain female in with certain features, or a
Mm.
certain guy with certain features. Because believe me, it goes both ways. Like, don't think that it was like I think us as men, we just don't give a crap as much as I feel like a woman would. But at the same time, like, yo, we were body shamed, and we
Mhm.
were not treated nicely back then too. If you looked a certain way, if you were a certain height, if you also were, super overweight or whatever the case is. But then the nightclub owner is like letting in all these like 5'7" to 5'9" like beauty bombshells.
Yeah.
That overweight 5'6" guy is also not getting in the club unless he's like 50 years old and he's coming in with stacks of money, right?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
that's kind of like how the clubs were working back then. Now it's obviously different. Never, like, nobody can do anything, otherwise you're like hardcore cancel cultured. But you also got to think of your product and service like that. It's
Mm.
and it's not a matter of like shaming someone, but it's a matter of
Mhm.
like, don't they're like, people are seeing so many things day in, day out, and you want to make sure that the time that you're giving someone is equally important to you. Do you feel that that person is also going to be important? Because
Mhm.
let's face it, I know a lot of entrepreneurs that, can turn around and be like, hey bro, I have 42 discovery calls booked in my calendar, yet
Mhm.
like one of them turned out to actually be solid. So that's a prime example of like a nightclub that lets everybody through the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
you can really pick and choose who you're gonna have that phone call with. It doesn't matter at that point if your calendar only has 5 calls a month or 10 calls a month. It's because now you're gonna have the juice and the energy to have the right conversations with the right people that are actually ready to buy your product.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get into talking about these different stages in terms of some more examples that he has for us. So we talked about the hook. So let's talk about re-engagement. What very high level? What is re-engagement all about?
Yeah, re-engagement. So, as they say, wait, where's my page now? Here it is. Um, as they say, when you want to do follow up, right? I know Jay talks about this all the time, fortune in the follow up. The same thing with your content, okay? Your content has to have at least, at minimum, 5 to 7 touch points,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, it sounds boring. Yes, it sounds like you're a broken record, and that you're just repeating yourself. But at the end of the day, for someone to come into your world, come into your circle, they have to they have to see you a handful of times, practically saying more or less the exact same thing. Like the 100-day masterclass that I'm doing, I was literally getting, like, I was at like day 35, Molly. I wasn't like, you would think it's like you're at like day 70. No, I'm at like day 35, and I'm like, holy shit, I said that 2 videos back. Like, like you're gonna repeat yourself, but
Yeah.
that's because somebody that watched, let's say, uh day 6, maybe they're not gonna watch day 35,
Mhm.
or or vice versa.
Yeah.
Maybe the person coming in at day 35 hasn't watched the first 34 videos. And
Mhm.
that is why having like 5 to 7 touch points of just kind of slightly repeating yourself, it's that's what you need. That's what you need to showcase people, because everybody comes in at like a different stage.
Yeah.
um I mean, you can also argue the fact that if you are somebody that's like super brand new, maybe you might have like 10 to 20 touch points where you have to just be a little bit more out there, and and how often you're saying things. Well, what are your thoughts?
I completely agree. Because if you start trying to broaden your number of topics, it kind of dilutes your message. People are like, oh, wait. And this, I say this from experience. People are like, oh, wait, she does video, but she also does strategy and she also does. So I guess she's just talking about everything. Instead, when you really focus down on Lefty's talking VSLs right now. So if you really focus down on your VSLs, it helps you create more specific content. It helps exactly what Lefty was saying. Maybe someone didn't see video 35 and they're just jumping in on video 96 or whatever. It's still engaging to them. It's still relevant to them. And this, I think about it this way when it comes to creating short form content specifically, because it is about those quicker hits and getting that message, being repetitive about that message. So I always think back to my years of working in summer camp. And I
Mm.
might have hundreds, 500 to 700 kids signing in for their very first day of camp. And this happens every single Monday,
Oh
all
boy.
summer for years. So, of course, I have the ability to become quite jaded about the preamble. I might dilute my welcome. I might just be like, yeah, it's the same forms as last year. Isn't that wonderful? But when I do that, I lose and I take away all of that enthusiasm towards what makes the experience of summer camp in this case amazing. I dilute that away. I strip it away because I'm sick of the message. But what I failed to do in that scenario is step into the perspective of each of those individual campers and their parents, so the people seeing your content who are here, who are interested in what you're sharing, you're forgetting the fact that it may be the first time they've heard that message, might be the thousandth time you've heard it, but it's the first time they've heard it. And it's going to frame their experience with you moving forward. So if you're
Yeah.
like, meh, I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm bored about this, or I've gone off onto a completely irrelevant topic and it's so tangential that it's not feeding back to that original message, then people aren't going to follow you. They're going to get lost. They're not going to have that same level. You would not have built the same level of authority in their minds.
Yeah.
Um, and what's also great is when you see that same person talking about the same topic every single time you see them, you go, oh, wait, that's the YouTube guy. Heck yeah. I'm going to watch his
Mm.
stuff because I know this is how I can rely on his channel to provide me this type of content that fits into my life in this way. Remember
Yeah.
back when we talked about psychographics, online and offline behavior of our viewers? This is where it fits in, my friends.
Yep.
Paying attention. So, heck
And
yeah.
and it's funny because so when I attended AdWorld for the first time in October, and I'm going again in 2 weeks, AdWorld, funny enough, is the day of my challenge.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that week. So I'm gonna be at AdWorld during the day, and then I
Nice.
have I have my mystery box challenge at 5 p.m. at night. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. Now to go back to go based on what you just said about also the repetition,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm at AdWorld. First person I'm excited to see, Alex Hormozy. Okay. He was the first speaker. He was the first speaker. I was like uh I started my morning off like 9 a.m. with Mr. Alex himself. I was so excited to listen to him.
Yeah.
And what did he do? He had a 30-minute presentation literally of maybe the first 10 pages of his book, $100 million
Yep.
offer. And I'll be honest with you, I personally was a little disappointed because I was, I mean, selfishly, as everybody does, because we think of ourselves. It's all about me, 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 me first. I sat
Our
back and I
favorite
was like,
song.
yeah, me, 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 me,
Me, me,
me,
me,
me,
me, me,
me.
me.
So I sat there and I was like, I'm so far past this. Like, I
Mm,
already know this information. Like, Alex, what the hell? I paid good money to be here, and then you're literally just telling me something that I read in your book like almost a year ago. I go,
mm.
like, kind of like WTF, bro, you know? And then I had to sit back and think about it. I go, wait, there's probably someone here who just stumbled across Alex Harmozy, who
Exactly.
is who doesn't even know who he is, or maybe just like watch the first like 2 3 videos on YouTube or Instagram, maybe doesn't even know that like he even has a book,
Yep.
right? And then I started thinking to myself, he probably he probably like spits the same 10 pages of his book probably another 100 times this
Yep.
year, right? And he's saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it's not because it's supposed to be like dull or boring.
Mhm.
I just started to come to my senses where I was like, there is literally someone in your crowd that is going to be like the first time. It's going to
Yeah.
be their first time. And that is the person that you always have to speak to, not the person that you've spoken to 1,000 times and they
Mhm.
know who you are and they know you're about. You have to always address the the you have to address the virgins. Let's like that's the
Yeah,
best way you can put it,
exactly,
you
exactly, and
know?
we've talked about Mark Rober's channel, the former NASA engineer turned incredible YouTube content creator and entrepreneur and inventor and all of this great stuff. So his channel, he focuses entirely for every single video on attracting that new audience, on wowing that new audience. And when he does that, he still is serving incredible value packed content to his subscribers who know that they can expect that level of content from him. But because he's focused on attracting that new audience, that means he's leaning into parts of that story arc that might not be as important for your current subscribers, like the hook, for example. The hook is important, but you need to set that hook in a way that's going to attract someone who has never seen you before. So that means your thumbnails, your headlines, your thumbnails are becoming a thing of the past because you can now hover over videos and they'll start to play. So those first few moments of your video have to be interesting to grab people's attention and make them go,
Yep.
whoa, you what?
Yep.
Controversy or curiosity. If you are a fan of the Russell Brunson or you're in the ClickFunnels world, you know the story arc in a different name. You know it as hook, story, and offer. Where at hook we have whatever's going to grab people's attention. This works for your YouTube content. It works for your shorts. It works for your sales content. Like it works for your sales page. It works for your funnel stuff. It works for your follow-up funnels. All of it. You have your hook first, then you tell them the story, which is going to, we know in the visibility hacking world, we always tell two stories at the same time, our story of relatability and our story of authority. We can play into all of these with every piece of content we have. And then our offer, as we talked about, doesn't always have to be a hardcore buy my stuff, book a sales call, DM me type of call to action. We can have micro commitments as well, where we're driving them back to remembering what we just taught them and encouraging them to put that into action. Because now, not only have we shared value, but we've allowed them to experience that value as well by seeing the success that comes from the quick tips we're able to share. Like,
Yeah.
beautiful, brilliant.
Yeah. And also like again, I'm always going to mention, like, we get bashed with like tens of thousands of pieces of content every day.
Mhm.
Like, especially if you're a new creator, like get rid of the intro. Like you don't need an intro in your videos. Just get to the beef.
Yeah.
Just get to the beef of the content. Like your hook can literally just be the title of the video, right? Like uh whatever it is, how I made $1 million, or how to start an agency in 5 steps, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the first thing. That's the first thing that you should say. And then you don't want to be like roll intro after, and then all of a sudden you have this like 25-second intro and nobody even
Yeah.
knows who the hell you are, right? Like you're at the end of the day, you're just feeding into an ego.
Yeah.
You're feeding into an ego where you think that you're just this big bad cool person. Now it's different. It's different if you're doing shows. Shows require intros, okay, but your channel doesn't. You need to just give the value. You need to uh get right to the talking points, do your thing. And especially for those people that are doing the valueless vlogs,
Yeah.
okay, because that's also something that is like a super dying trend. um you need to be able, and I have, and I have a YouTube video about this. I think it's I think it was like 6 dying trends on YouTube or something like that. I don't remember the title of my video, but valueless vlogs, people that are just going out there and being like, oh, I'm gonna get my Starbucks coffee and then I'm gonna show you guys where I'm gonna go have lunch today, and like, and then I'm just
Mhm.
gonna talk about like my daily life. Like nobody cares about that stuff anymore. Like,
Yeah.
unless you have a large following, unless
Mhm.
you've already made it, unless you've built your channel around valueless vlogs
Mhm.
and you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, right? But even the people that do have valueless vlogs, the majority of their content is still something teachable. It's still
Mhm.
something showcasing, like whatever it is that they want to showcase. I think True North, I think Peter McKinnon does a fantastic job of this. Like that guy, and pardon my French, can literally just talk shit for 10 minutes in front of a camera and people will eat it up. But then at the same time, he can give you the most like extensive tutorial on Photoshop or Lightroom,
Mhm.
and at the same, and then go back to literally just talking about nothing.
Mhm.
you know
Mhm.
he does such an amazing job of this. And then like honestly, Peter McKinnon, in my opinion, he still does great things. I feel like he was I feel like he had like a drop a little bit in his content for a while, where I feel like his content, like I kind of sat back and I was like, where the hell is this guy going with this, right? But I feel like he got his step back, he got the kick in his step. And for those of you that don't know him, or you want to learn from him, he is a photographer, he is a filmmaker. It might not be your exact niche, but if you want to talk about structure, oh my God, is he ever the greatest gateway drug YouTuber? Like when you have gateway drugs, like everyone's like, oh, marijuana's gonna open the door to bigger, badder things. Like Peter McKinnon, to me as a
Mhm.
photographer, was that marijuana, was that gateway drug for me. And like, you guys gotta go like watch his channel. And it's
Yeah.
just so awesome from like 2017 to now, how he's like progressed. It's beautiful. It's honestly beautiful.
I agree. I agree. He was for me. Now we're just gonna gush all over our favorite creators. Um, but he for me was also that gateway creator to the whole world of, hey, I can get video editing tutorials and content creation tutorials all over YouTube from like these massive professionals. I have a
Yeah,
whole new world of inspiration to look to. Heck yeah.
yeah.
I went down this rabbit hole about these super expensive lenses and making these like crazy commercials and stuff. And like, I'm in love. I'm in love. It's
I'm
great.
not gonna lie. There were times back then where I would go and literally just hang out like on like Young and Main in Newmarket in hopes that I would run into him because that's where his studio was with
In
Maddie.
Newmarket?
Yeah, Maddie Hapuya, the original studio, that building, that old building that's Young and Main, that's in Newmarket.
Main Street, Newmarket. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, talking
Yeah.
about studios, because it's time to wrap up today's episode. But the great news that we kind of talked about before, not today's episode though, is that Ryan Reynolds, my favorite fellow Canadian, is bringing his Impossible Studios or Impossible. He's bringing his production company to Markham, Ontario, which is like a suburb of Toronto, and oh my goodness, it's going to be the largest TV and media production facility in like North America or something like that. And it's going to be like in our backyard, which is so exciting. And he's partnering, I think, with Seneca College so that the media production students have access to this huge facility. And I love Ryan Reynolds when it comes to his media production because he is all about supporting minority communities. And I mean minority communities. He had this really cool project where he was filming a movie and he was bringing on a whole bunch of interns and trainees. And he was like, it's all ages. And he's like, yeah, all ages, which means like it doesn't matter how old you are. If you want to start a new career at 50, then heck yeah, let's come, let's
Yeah.
bring you into this program. And I think that diversity is so exciting. That's going to be coming out of literally our backyard. So, my
I
friends,
will
keep an
literally
eye open. Hang out on the Visibility Hackers channel. Hang out on Lefty's channel because we are going to be very, very excited as we try and get into the studio. That's
Molly,
my
Molly,
journey.
why don't we and guys comment below, okay? Let us know this. But Molly, why don't we see if we can set up uh, a tour with HR?
Heck yeah.
Let's see if we could set up a tour and when the time comes, or start seeing who we can contact now, because I'm sure that calendar of things are just the calendar is really going to start piling up and piling up. So yeah, let's see if we could do that. Honest to God, I will enroll back into college just to have free access to this studio.
Me too.
I will
100%.
literally I will dive into a 2-year semester just to do that with all the homework and everything. Forget my video marketing agency. I'm putting it on the back burner for 2 years. I'm going back to school just so I can learn from Ryan Reynolds. Screw it.
Oh, I love it. Well, my friends,
you still can.
yeah, exactly. You're never too late.
I'm leaving.
All right, my friends. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. We went deep into this chapter. So you're going to have to hang out in the Visibility Hackers YouTube channel to get more on the Feedback is Queen. Lefty and I will put some stuff together for you guys. We'll share our thoughts. We'll share our emotions. We'll share our experience so that you guys can start sharing your feedback as well to help us grow our channels, create content that's attractive to you guys, that's valuable to you guys, because we're here to just give back to our communities who have helped us so much and inspired us so much. So, Lefty, what are your last words for today's episode?
Just, go create, get the feedback, talk to your friends, just make sure that your videos are aligned with your goals, with your core values, your beliefs. Don't just create content to create content. If you feel like you just have to do that, your stories are the best way to do that because they disappear. And at the same time, little tip, if you are afraid of doing hard sells because nobody's going to watch your content, your stories are a great way to do that because they will disappear. I can literally go in my story and say, hey, I have this new offer, buy my shit, in my story, because guess what? In 22 hours from the time that I posted it, it's gone. It's
Yeah.
nowhere to be seen. It's nowhere to be found. So it doesn't matter. It's not a permanent stain on my portfolio or my reels or somewhere where people can always watch it, you know? That is my thing. Go create, go do things, get feedback from people. I'm always asking for feedback. I swear the amount of times I bother Jim and I'm just like, bro, I just made this video, please watch it. And he literally tells me everything I need to know, even if it's things that I don't want to hear. You know,
Mhm.
and there are times, and believe me, there are times where you might not have the opportunity to change it because there's a deadline, but at least you know for next time. You know
Mhm.
for next time, okay, what I can cut out, what I shouldn't put in there, what I should put in there. Not everything is going to be perfect. That's why we have to constantly make content, because if the perfect piece of content existed, then we would only ever have to make one.
Crazy. And we'd all be billionaires from that one video we all created.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I have nothing else to add because Lefty summed it up so well. So thank you guys all for showing up. Thank you, whether you watched us live or on the replay. We appreciate that you spent your time with us. Go get your copy of the YouTube formula. The best place to go is directly through Darrell Eves. It's ytformula.com. Because when you can get it on Amazon, you can get it at your bookstore, all of that kind of stuff. But all of us in the book club here have purchased it directly through Darrell Eves. I was about to call him Mr. Darrell Eves,
Mhm.
Mr. Eves, because when you purchase it through him, not only do you get the book, but you also get access to a complimentary online course, which really gives great examples. And it's a fantastic way to really expedite what you're learning in the book, not only expedite what you're learning here in the book club as well. So thank you all. We'll see you next week. And until then, remember, be excellent to each other. We love you. Peace out. Make
Bye.